Now, we're going to have Rama Achala. Did I get the last name properly? Pardon? Achala. Rama Achala. Excuse me. As I mentioned just before lunch, Rama has an incredible journey that has brought her healing from a chronic illness. And out of that, all has become a very powerful medicine woman and healer herself, working with Kambo and several other medicines. And she has some really valuable things to share with you. So please come up, Rama, and please give her a welcome hand, folks. Rama may leave time for questions. And if she does, I just want to tell you now, you need to come to a mic, and I think this is the only working mic right now apart from hers, because we're recording everything. So don't just, call out a question from your seat, please. Mark over here is going to be the mic runner, and he will run over to you and hand you a mic.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Stephen. Thank you for having me. Thank you for coming. So what I'd like to do is just help everybody kind of ground in a little bit before we start. So I'm going to ask everyone to close their eyes. If you can, take a seat. We all need a little grounding sometimes. So with your eyes closed, I'm going to ask you to take 3 nice deep breaths in and out. Another deep breath in and out. And last deep breath in. And as you breathe out, just arriving here in this space, feeling the chair underneath you. And I'd like to do a little bit of a prayer and just call in our guides, our guardians, our ancestors, elders, Mother, Father, Great Spirit, Spirit of all of the medicines, to be here with us on this beautiful day. We give thanks for bringing all of us together in community to support one another in healing and opening and grounding, to bring us back to our truth. And we give thanks to Pachamama, Mother Earth, for all of her beauty, her nourishment and her nurturing, for her waters and her mountains, for her trees and plants, for all of her creatures. And give thanks to the elders, to the curanderos, the shaman, the healers, all of the medicine carriers. Thank you for your wisdom, for sharing your ways and your medicines with us, especially in the Western world where we can really use the support. And we give thanks for the space that we're in, to UBC, Musqueam. Thank you for this land. May anybody who come on this land be blessed. And then I thank each and every one of you for being here, for listening to the call, for taking the time. Thank you for the opportunity, again, to connect. These medicines are so powerful and healing. They have so much wisdom to share. They have their own intelligence, and so we give thanks for the opportunity to learn and grow together. And so it's with deep honor and gratitude that I get to share with you today. And so I give thanks. Aho. Thank you. Thank you all for coming. So I'm going to share a few things with you. There's, you can go to Google and find out what chronic illness is. So I'll share a few of those things with you, and then we'll move into stories of healing and possibility. So what is a chronic illness? A As you see, it says complex causes, many risk factors. I mean, this is all Google stuff. I don't really need to get into it. I think you all can Google it. We can all figure that out on our own. This is typically how our society looks at chronic illness right now. So when you Google, it also says that things like heart disease, cancer, and diabetes are the leading cause of death globally. And so it's definitely an important topic to discuss and to share. Just a list of a couple of the chronic illnesses that are on that list. One of them I was diagnosed with. So I'll leave that because, again, we can all just Google that. We don't, I don't want to spend my time here with talking to you about that. What I'd like to share with you is a bit about my own story of healing. And this is a before and after picture of me about 15 years ago. I used to be over 210 pounds. And I was depressed every day. And I cried every day. And I remember in my mid-20s, I was in my room, and I was crying. And I thought, I need to change or I need to leave this planet. And thank goodness, at 18, I had attempted suicide, and I failed. And the embarrassment of the failure was enough to stop me from doing it again. And so I decided to start climbing Grouse Mountain, the Grouse Grind. Some of you know of it here. And losing weight. And I lost weight, and I felt better, but I knew that there was something more. And I've continually listened to something deeper inside of me that's called me to go on this journey of healing, of finding myself, of grounding in, of remembering who I am. So I went and worked for Tony Robbins for some years, and that was amazing. I really enjoyed that. And again, still something deeper was calling inside of me. And then about 12 years ago, 13 years ago, I woke up one day and I was numb from my sternum to my spine. The whole left side of me was numb. And I didn't know what was happening. And it took a year to get in for an MRI. And once I got in, I had neurologists tell me that they believed that it was multiple sclerosis. And so I went to numerous neurologists, and I just couldn't believe it. I didn't really know what MS was at the time. And so all of the neurologists agreed, okay, it's multiple sclerosis. There was lesions on my spine and in my brain. And I didn't want to believe them. I didn't know what to do with it. I thought, what am I going to make this mean? They said, we want you to be on injections every week for the rest of your life. And my dad and my mom, I grew up as a vegetarian hippie parents. And my dad's here, and they taught me a lot about pharmaceuticals. And so it didn't feel like the right fit for me or an option. So I looked at them and I said, well, let me get this right. You don't understand why people are diagnosed. I said, you don't know why they relapse, and you don't have any understanding of the long-term side effects of these drugs. And they said, that's true. And I said, and you believe this is my best option? This is the only option you have to give me? And they said, yes. And I said, I can't do it. I'm going to find another way. And I would say within the first year, a couple of things that are really important, I think, psychologically, is I never said that it was mine and that I had it. I always said I was diagnosed with it. It was not going to be part of who I am and part of my identity, and I feel that that's really, really important. And then in the first year, I had this feeling so deep inside. It said, it's come here to serve you. You've been diagnosed with this to go on a healing journey. And when it no longer serves you, you're going to be released of it. And I thought I was a little bit crazy. I thought, okay, am I really, is this really true? There were times where I doubted it. So about 4 years ago, I was in Costa Rica. And I lost peripheral vision, and I had spotted blindness, and I couldn't lift my right hand, and I couldn't lift the right side of my face, and everything slowed down. And I went in and out of the hospital. The neurologist said, "You're having an MS relapse." And that was so hard for me to accept. And I just thought, I think it's probably better if I go home, go back to the medical system that we have here, and see what they have to say. So I came home exhausted for 4 months. And they said, yes, you're having an MS relapse. They got me in for an MRI 6 months later, and I got the results probably about 3 or 4 months later. But there was something inside of me that said, this has served you, and it's time for it to leave. And when I went in for the results for that MRI, I was undiagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And thank God I didn't do the injections every week. I can't even imagine what would have happened. And so part of my journey was listening to that inner call that was telling me that it's here to serve me. And I thought, just in case I'm wrong, if I wake up and I am deaf or I am blind or I can't walk, all these things that the doctors were telling me could happen, I'm going to live my life to the fullest. And so I said yes, and I allowed myself to be guided and just kept saying yes, yes, which eventually led me to ayahuasca, led me to the Yawanawa tribe from Brazil and sitting with these medicines. And what I found with these medicines, what was so powerful for me, was to deal with any of my trauma from my life. And also with the Yawanawa tribe, it led me into Kambo, working with the Kambo medicine. And just physically allowing these things to be released. We say it's getting well when you purge. It's not throwing up, it's getting well, because you're just letting go of everything and releasing. And then also with the ayahuasca, I truly met myself and what was going on in my own mind. It was scary. I had a lot of, I don't know what they were talking about, what they were saying. Oh, all these people are having these great, these great trips. I think we were talking about that yesterday. Well, that's, I've had a few nice ones. The majority of mine have been dealing with my stuff from the past. And so, and I'll go deeper into that, because I believe that the diagnosis of these kinds of illnesses is more than just my experience and my journey here and now, and some of the trauma. So it's been just such a beautiful journey. I truly believe that people can heal themselves. I believe that's a possibility. And I also believe that disease is trauma stored in the body, but I believe that it's not just trauma that's stored from this experience. It can be trauma that is of the collective. It could be trauma that's of our ancestors. The elders teach us that as we do this work with these medicines, it's for the past 7 generations and the future 7 generations. And so, I have some slides here that I haven't been using, but so here, this is what we're talking about is the trauma stored from personal experience and the energy of the collective. We talk about, we all know that we're interconnected. So why would we not be doing the work for each other? What if that's what we're doing? What if it's not yours? We have this thing that as humans, we seem to want to have something to identify with, to label ourselves with. What if it's not yours? What if whatever you've been diagnosed with is just something that you are being called to release for others? What if we took on that mentality? Would that free you? Would that be healing? What if it is a gift? What if it's a hero's journey? You know, what if you're meant to do this so that you can, again, go out and help other people? I see people comment all the time and they go, oh, I'm going through all this. I get excited for them. I think, wow, this is so amazing because I know what's on the other side and how many people you're going to help and support. So do you think that that might be freeing for us to not take that as part of our identity? So, you know, my purpose in sharing with you this story today is just to, you know, potentially create some hope and freedom and self-healing, maybe a new way to look at illness, how to heal ourselves. And, you know, these medicines are so powerful for us in doing that. And I mean, I can get in a lot about the medicines, you know. They're experiential, though. What I share with you on the outside is not necessarily what you're going to experience. And, you know, I'm happy to share some stories with Kambo, with Ayahuasca. We also share Hape and Sananga. And I've seen people come post-traumatic from the Bosnian War and come and sit numerous times with Kambo. And when they came, they couldn't sleep more than 3 hours a night. They couldn't, they had migraine headaches. They couldn't show emotions. They were glazed over. And they couldn't share any of their stories because it was too traumatic for them. I know this, and this one person, his wife couldn't even sleep in the bed with him because she would wake up with his hands around her neck because of the trauma he's experienced. Body pain from shrapnel. And coming and sitting with Kambo in 6 treatments, he was able to show emotion. He could cry. The light came back into his eyes. He can sleep 8-9 hours now. The pain from the shrapnel's gone. His wife is, you know, he's just a completely different person. And so I have a million stories that I could share with you, and I prefer to be interactive with people. I don't want to sit up here and talk at everyone. I love to be able to share whatever it is that people are feeling called to hear more about. So I would love to, at this point, if you're open, if anybody has any questions and would like to know more about the medicines or even questions about me or stories, I'm happy to share more. Any questions? Yeah.
Hello. Oh, there we go. I'm just curious about what the medicine might have taught you about MS and like if you have any theories on what that was for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Gabor Mate and I have actually had conversations around this. We both believe the same things, that it is trauma stored in the body. And so what I really realized is because of the trauma from my past and the experiences that I had had in life, I would beat myself up in my own head. And so I thought, well, if I'm attacking myself in my own head about who I am, or why would my body not follow suit? Which is what MS is. So it actually, your body attacks itself and the myelin sheath, right? And so that was a huge realization. With ayahuasca, I remember there was one time where I was, they would get you up to dance. And I was really reluctant to do that. I just wanted to be in my little space. I didn't want to be bothered. And I remember every time that I resisted, I would feel the need to purge. And then I would get up and I would dance, and maybe I'd look at someone and kind of go, oh, look at them dancing, you know. I'd have a thought of judgment. Anytime there was a judgment in any of it, I would feel the need to purge. But then every time I just relaxed into it and I danced and I just went with the flow and the ease of it, it was good. And so ayahuasca really taught me, she really taught me that how powerful our minds are. So it's got fully integrated into my body of every time I have that judgment or that negative thought or that push against. I mean, these medicines are all about surrender, all of them. You know, and I'm sure a lot of you know if you don't surrender, they will they will get pretty intense, right? You know, but that's life. How do we surrender into the challenges? They teach us how to be able to let go. You know, the resistance, we only suffer when we resist, right? So just to be able to drop into that and to let go, that's not, our resistance isn't our true nature, right? Yeah, is that good? That answers it? Perfect, thank you, good. Right up here, Mark.
I hadn't heard about Kambo prior to this. Can you just go over what that is and what that process is?
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
So Kambo is, and you'll hear about it later as well. We have another amazing speaker here. She's from the US and she's going to be sharing. So Kambo is a secretion from a giant tree frog. So they've been using it for thousands of years in the Amazon rainforest. And so what we do is we actually gain access through the lymphatic system. And so there's little dots that we create. They're called gateways. And then we put the medicine into the gateways. The medicine goes in through your lymphatic system, so it helps clear out your lymphatic system, rejuvenate your organs, and reboot your immune system. But they also say that it gets rid of bad luck and panema. So energetically, what I've seen with people is stresses in life actually get removed. It's where they would get tense or frustrated or controlling about things, it's released. But much more than that, there is science behind it that's from a couple of universities in Europe that show that it kills cancer cells. And we've personally seen, and it shoots the white blood cell count as well. Really, yeah, it shoots the white blood cell count up. We've seen a lot of amazing results with all kinds of things, HIV, autoimmune disease, cancer, post-traumatic depression, anxiety, and Lyme as well. Yeah, so what it does, it really likes to bring the body back into balance. So with the spirit of the frog, you know, it also brings the water and the rain, which it creates ease and flow in life. And then it's also considered the great revealer. So, you know, on our healing journey, it's really about bringing everything to the surface to be released and transformed. That's the only way it's possible. Because if we just keep pushing it down, I mean, that's what we're taught in our society, right? Push down, push down. So, and then also I believe it's a great protector. It has no known predators. And so I believe, yeah, it moves through the jungle very slowly and at ease. And so I believe that we also get that spirit with us, which is to not live in fear, but to be relaxed, know that we're always safe and taken care of. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Are we good? Is there any more questions? We got one question behind you.
Okay, it's got to be a quick one.
Okay, quick question.
In the list of ailments and conditions you've dealt with, have you come across with Kambo ADD or ADHD? And if so, what have the results been?
Well, I mean, I have my own opinion on that. I actually think that people diagnosed with ADD and ADHD are just brilliant people. I believe they're just brilliant people that have come to this planet to support us. I mean, I don't think anything's wrong with that. I think we're trying to herd people and put them in a box. So that's my personal opinion on that. I think meditation is a great thing and is supportive to any of us, I think, in the 3D and external world that we live in. So meditation would be the best. Yeah, great.
Let's have a big hand for Rama.
Thank you so much. It's been my honor. Thank you. Thank you.